Why isn't the tank wearing a shield? Fury / Prot build explained. Okay. So here we are. We'll see how this goes. Okay.
Hey guys, Skarm here. Recently I got a comment on one of my videos asking what my Warrior's talent build is. Up until recently, Warrior tanks have been spec'd into Deep Prot with Shield Slam, with a few points in the Arms and Fury Tree.
Okay.
However, the meta has shifted in more hardcore guilds.
Look at his rage, man.
Generate as much threat as possible.
Look at his rage.
DPS pushing their limits and doing as much damage as they can.
Okay.
To do this, tanks have been running a Fury Prot build, focused more on doing damage and generating threat, as opposed to maximizing mitigation.
Right.
In this video, I'll be going over the talent build in detail and explaining its strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
Alright, so here we are in the talent calculator. Here I'm going to be just going over each talent one by one and explaining, kind of why they're good.
He's spamming Heroic Strike. It's
Arms Tree, we don't get anything in Arms
that.
Tree for this build. Everything's in Fury Prot.
So you don't even get parry.
So starting at the Fury Tree, you get 5 points in Cruelty for 5 critical strike. That's
Got it.
Very useful.
That makes sense.
Boom
That just makes
not
sense.
Really necessary. It just increases the. It's more of a PvP talent. It doesn't actually boost damage or anything. It just increases the duration and the range of battle and demo shout. Not
Obviously
very
Cruelty.
Useful in PvE.
Obviously Cruelty.
Next, down the tree, we have improved demoralizing shout, which is something that, in my opinion, a Fear Warrior should get. Depending on the boss, the tank should be focused more on staying alive.
I'm gonna just skip through the talent section.
So
I think we can basically understand the talent section.
So if you want the improved version, you should have a.
Jess, did you guys want to watch the talent version or not? Or talent part or not?
Opinion.
Skip it.
The other talent, Unbridled Wrath, that's very good.
Okay, we want to hear it.
Especially
All right,
since this build revolves around dual wielding.
Right. Okay. So this is Unbridled Wrath. It's really good for dual wield.
To generate an additional rage point whenever you deal damage to the weapon really adds up.
Right. Of course.
Next down the tree, we have the third tier. These talents
Blood
are
crates.
Somewhat flexible. I do really like Piercing Howl. I think it's important
because it's good
for 5 mans and 20 mans.
It's a good item. It's a good talent.
Its uses sometimes.
It's a good ability.
So I think
it's good.
That I always get this talent personally. Technically, when tanking a boss, you don't use Piercing Howl.
Obviously makes
sense.
sense.
But for just 1 point, I think it's a very useful move to have.
Of course.
Improved Cleave.
Dog
good.
shit ass ability.
You get 120% bonus damage from Cleave. However, what the bonus damage is what Cleave does. It does weapon damage plus, I believe, is 50.
50 right there.
Rank.
Yep, there it is.
The 120% damage only applies to that 50.
So that's like
doesn't apply to the base weapon damage.
60 more damage.
Sounds like a really good talent until you read the fine print.
I think
and realize it's just the bonus damage. So you could get this, but
it's an improved piece of shit.
We have Blood Craze that when you get crit, you regenerate. It says 0 right here, but you actually
3%.
regenerate 3% of your health, your total health over 6 seconds.
Okay.
Which the more health you have, the more you'll regen.
However,
with the amount of heals that should be on you if you're running this build in a guild that requires you to run this build for threat,
right?
I don't think Blood Craze is very useful. Personally, I think it's too minimal.
Okay.
But some people get it, some don't. You can get it if you want. I usually don't.
I guess, you know what? I probably won't get this. You know what? I'm not even going to get it. Fuck it. I'm going to go with this guy's spec. He's doing Nax, all right? I'm doing MC.
So, 4 points in improved battle shout. 20% increase attack power in your battle shout. It's, just more AP. It's nice. Next up, we have Enrage, which you definitely want. You'll get crit a lot more in this build from bosses, which sounds a little scary, but
yeah, it
really,
does.
It's usually nothing the healers that the healers can't handle.
You hear that, healers? You hear that? You better pay the fuck attention.
So dealing 25% of more damage from all your attacks is huge. It's very nice.
Okay.
Getting crits actually kind of want that. So that's a nice ability to have. Plus you need to get Flurry. So Enrage is mandatory. You have to get that.
Okay.
Death Wish, might as well just skip down there and get that because obviously you want that. That's
very good tanking ability.
That's another big
reduces
reason
your
why
armor
this build
and resistance
works so well is because for 30 seconds you can have 20% more damage and be immune to fear in case
that's really good.
Your Berserker Rage is down or you're not in Berserker stance when a fear goes off. Death Wish is handy for breaking fear.
Okay.
It does lower your armor and resistances by 20%, which is really not that much. Honestly. It's definitely
That seems like a lot.
but
I'm gonna be honest. That seems like a lot.
So we need, as you can see,
okay.
we need 4 more points to get down to Flurry. I like to put those in. I like to finish off Improved Battle Shot and put 3 into Dual Specialization. Have my offhand do a little bit more damage.
I don't know.
Really, these
points
are flexible.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, you don't want Improved Slam. You don't want Improved Execute.
Why is Improved Execute not good? I feel like Improved Execute's really good. What makes it not good? It feels like because it's good. Like, I don't know. I can't see it not being good. Can't execute in defensive stance. Just go to battle stance. Like I mean, just go to battle stance. It's simple. Yeah, just go berserker stance. Infinite rage. Yeah, you just go berserker stance.
You don't want.
Then
that.
You die.
You don't want that.
No, I don't.
There's really not many points.
You'd be fine.
Many places to put the points. I like putting.
You'd be fine,
personally,
dude.
But that's not mandatory.
Okay.
Next up, we have Flurry. This is mandatory. You get that, and you get Bloodthirst. Sorry. So there's your Fury Tree. 31 points. Next, we're gonna move on to the Prot Tree. We have defense up to 10, and then we have the shield specialization, which increases your chance to block by 5, and 100% chance to generate 1 rage when a block occurs.
Okay.
Even though you won't be using a shield, I'd say more often than not, you're not using a shield with this build for most bosses. However, when you do need to put on a shield, which sometimes, even if you're dual wielding a boss that you normally wouldn't put on a shield, sometimes you might feel like, the raid damage is too much, or,
Wait.
One of the things with this build is that you need to be able to put on a shield on the fly. You need to be able to equip your shield quickly when you feel like you need it. And so, in some fights, you still wear a shield always. Like if you're tanking like Lotheb or Saffron, for example, next, like you're gonna have a shield on regardless.
Fuck, man.
So I like this over the defense.
What?
Defense skill.
What?
There's been a myth. I wouldn't call it a myth, but for a long time, 440 defense is the magic number. Which means you need 140 defense from gear. And
that's a lot. I don't have that.
To be uncritable. People are starting to realize that that's not so important anymore. So, and to proc and rage, for example, you want to get crit. So, this is almost, I wouldn't call it a bad talent, but you almost don't want like super high defense, because getting crit's not a bad thing. You get more rage when you get crit, and you get rage prots.
So you want?
I don't really
want
love
to
this
sit down
for this
to
build.
Get crit.
I choose to skip it. I go for shield spec instead.
Okay.
Next up, we have Improved Blood Rage. You need that to get last stand, and that's just a nice talent in general.
Obvious decision there.
Iron Wool sucks for PvE, so we're gonna put 3 points into toughness, 6% more armor.
Now he's obviously gonna get the shield block.
Next up, 1 point improved shield block.
Duh.
Every Prot warrior should be familiar with this already.
Yes.
Obviously, we want 5 points in Defiance.
Right.
1 last stand. Now we have 3 talent points left over. Some people like Improved Revenge. It's nice for 5-mans. It supposedly the stun generates even additional threat. I read somewhere that might not actually be true, but Improved Revenge can be a nice talent. Even certain trash in raids, and for example, like on Razor Gore or Gothic,
I could maybe use that.
Boss fights that have
Improved Revenge could be really good.
It's not a bad talent.
I never
really get
really
it,
good.
but I used to think it was useless. My mind has changed to where I do see some benefit in it, but I still don't really mess with it. You can if you want. These last 3 points are pretty optional. You could get Improved Heroic Strike. You could get. I tend to get Sunder Armor. You could get Improved Taunt. A few of these points are flexible, like I've said. This tree that you see right here. This isn't the.
Sunder
you don't have
Armor.
to get all these points exactly. A few of the points are flexible.
Okay. All right.
As I've talked about, so play with it. Play around with it. But this is the build I run for my Fury Prot build. So how does this build compare to a Deep Prot build, you might be wondering? Well, I'll start off by saying that this Fury Prot build isn't really meant for beginners. Like if you're new to tanking, if your guild isn't, like if you're in a casual guild where
look at this guy, he's got Thunder
isn't
Fury.
Just constantly pushing his limits, or
look at all those
if they're
buffs.
okay with waiting a few seconds for starting DPS on a boss, then Deep Prot is just fine. You can go ahead and stay Prot. You don't really have to worry about speccing Fury Prot.
Okay.
Also keep in mind that Fury Prot does have a stricter gear requirement. You will typically be wearing gear that's more DPS oriented, more threat oriented.
Look at that gear, dude. The fucking Lionheart helm. Look at this gear, dude. Look at this fucking gear, dude. I mean, like, where's my gear like that? He's got Might of Minute. I love how he just equips Might of Minute, though. Like, okay, all right, whatever. Yeah, sure. I guess I'll put this on. He's got 10,000 health. He's got 10,000 health. That's more than me. And I'm actually supposed to be a tank.
Less mitigation stats. Combine that with not wearing a shield, and you'll be taking a lot more damage. So if you don't have good healers able to keep you up and, you know when to heal you, then you're better off running.
Yeah, like 1900 white crit. Like, it's not even a big deal. Like, he just does that like it's nothing. He just does that. Like, and like the thing, he just does this in the video. And he acts like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I'll just put on my Might of Minithil and just hit for 2,000 almost, and, you know, white crit. I guess I might as well do this. I mean, this is so stupid, man. He's trying to get more rage. Yeah, obviously.
Deep Prot, in my opinion.
Okay.
Two of the main things that are missing from a Fury Prot build that I immediately noticed.
The shield.
Were Concussion Blow and Tactical Mastery. Concussion Blow, you know, it's 45-second cooldown, 5-second stun.
That's really good.
It's a handy ability to have. You know, you don't use it on bosses. Obviously, they're not stunnable, but it's nice to have during trash. But the main thing that I noticed missing from Fury Prot build right away was Tactical Mastery.
One thing I don't like also, look at the weapons he's using. You can see right there by the weapons he's using. That's his enchants on his weapons. He's got Thunder Fury main hand, Hungering Cold offhand. Literally, Kel'Thuzad tanking weapon is his offhand. He's like, I guess I'll put this in my offhand. I guess I might as well use this. You know, since I'm not using the other Kel'Thuzad Might of Minithil weapon that I have right now. Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
As soon as I didn't have it anymore, I wish I had it again. Let's put it that way. One of my favorite things to do on trash, for example, is if a mob got loosed, I would switch to Zerker stance, intercept it, switch back to defensive.
You guys see me do that all the time.
It and then taunt it.
It's a high-end warrior gameplay mechanic, but I do it all the time.
One of my favorite things too. I love doing that.
Okay.
Doing that as a Fury Prot build, since you don't have Tactical Mastery, when you switch stances, you go down to 0 rage, you lose all your rage.
Right.
So that was hard to me. That was hard for me to adapt to.
And they just kill everything,
that was
dude.
Probably the biggest thing that I had to overcome when I switched to this build.
That's
not
crazy.
Having that anymore. However, where even though you don't have that ability anymore, you have Piercing Howl, which is I've gotten a lot more used to using Piercing Howl.
Okay.
If you slow the mobs that you're tanking, and if one of them gets away from you, guess what? It's moving at half speed, and it's a lot easier to react and target it and taunt it before it gets away from you. So that does kind of make up for it, honestly. In addition to that, you have, you know, Death Wish is great, Flurry's great. There's a lot of things in the Fury Prot tree where...
Look how serious this guild is, dude. Like, they don't even look at the loot. Like, this is how I want my guild to be. They don't even look at the loot. They're like, all right, whatever. Whatever. Oh, it's just Nax loot. Who cares? Whatever. Right? They don't even give a fuck, man. And it's like they're using grenades on spiders. I mean, that's crazy.
The Fury Tree specifically, where you'll lose threat less often.
It's a speedrunner guild? I know that. They already have all the gear? I see that.
The gear you're wearing is more threat oriented, so you won't really need to, you know, mobs aren't going to be getting away from you as much, so the need to switch stances and charge with them is, you know, you don't have to do that as much. But yeah, and I'll go ahead and, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it for that for now. Go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, ask me any questions.
Okay.